Let's roll.
One sec.
Our plugging in at the beginning while you fiddle, it could be one of us says, let's rock, and the other one says, let's roll. How cheesy would that be?
Let's rock it. What?
Perfect night for the sweatshirt.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, hi, Rachel.
Hi, Mark.
It's my turn to be in a hotel.
We're flip-flopping.
I know. I'm in
Tis the season.
Well, I am in the Palm Springs of Washington. Do you know what that is? Everybody knows that.
No, I'm sorry.
That would be Yakima, Washington.
I did not know that.
It's a wonderful, wonderful place. But yes, I am in Yakima, Washington right now for the WMOA conference, and I am in a hotel, but we had some time that we could do a podcast. So as we have been doing lately, we have a sponsor tonight, and the sponsor is a good... Sorry?
What's WMOA?
WMOA is the Washington Association for Maintenance and Operations Administrators. So it's your grounds maintenance operations folks, custodial. I have been on that board for like 12 years, 13 years, because they wanted to bring a technology person in because we do so many HVAC controls, lighting, those types of things. After I made it to the ACPE board, I resigned my board position, but they will not let me go off their conference committee. So I am on the conference committee forever, and our conference starts tomorrow and it goes through Friday, where then I will see many of you at the OETC event in SeaTac. So beautiful Yakima, Washington.
I
very cool.
Think of it every time I drive by the 4 out of 5 vehicles in my area of the world that have their cargo toppers and ski gear toppers on their vehicles.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So yes, this is where you get your cherries and apples and peaches. This is that Western or Eastern Washington fruit capital, even though they had no peaches this year. It was a big fire or something came through. It was crazy.
Yes.
Anyway. All right. Well, my pleasure tonight to bring our sponsor out. We have another one of my friends, because I get to pick my friends all the time. And we're bringing out Tatiana Lowe from Bump Armor, who does cases for devices for students. And Tatiana has been a longtime partner with ACPE, a longtime partner with schools in K-12, providing solutions for devices. And without further ado, we'll let Tatiana talk about Bump Armor.
Yes. Welcome, Tatiana.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. As many of you know, ACPE is hands down my favorite event of the year. So let's dive into the story of Bump Armor, how I got here, and how we can help support you and your device deployments. So Bump Armor started because, well, kids break things. And my bosses, a husband and wife team, had young kids who kept breaking their iPads with cases on them. And they were frustrated that nothing on the market really was protecting the iPad. And they realized that they decided to do something about it. The husband's an entrepreneur. The wife has extensive corporate executive background, and they combined their skills and created their own case, something that's durable, reliable, and purpose-built. And that one prototype became the foundation for Bump Armor. And they quickly realized that if they were struggling with protection at home, that school districts across the country must be struggling even more. So with over 30 years of textile manufacturing experience and their deep factory relationships, they brought a high-quality case to market, and it took off. So for those of you listening, I encourage you to check out the YouTube channel, because I'm showing a couple of the cases tonight. And then where I come in is I actually worked with Lori, the owner, in a past life. And many of you have known me pre-husband, pre-kids, and what started as a remote part-time position quickly turned into a career 10 plus years at Bump Armor. And I can honestly say without a doubt that I'm going to be here for the next 10 years. And many of you have met our amazing team that we've had for several years. And, of course, I met Mark, my friend, 6 or 7 years ago. And Rachel, I met you at ACPE when we first did our show. And, it's been an absolute pleasure building such solid partnerships, based on mutual respect, the way that you run your business and your relationships with vendors as well. So we started with an iPad case. This is prototype to powerhouse. We have now grown in the last 10 plus years into one of the largest K-12 protective case companies in the country. And I'm really proud of the relationships that we've built, again, especially through ACPE and the trusted reputation that we've earned in the K-12 market. Deployments. As of 2023, over 90% of school districts reported a one-to-one device program. And 75% of IT leaders said device loss, damage, or returns are their top operational concern / nightmare to manage. And that's where we come in. Our goal is simple. We create the most protective, functional, durable cases that keep your devices in service and students learning. And every district that switches to bump armor sees their damage rates drop significantly. We only work in K-12. So everything that we make is designed specifically for your world. And 10 years, the next 20 years, I sell cases. That's all I do all day, every day. And for those of you who have worked with me before, I ask a lot of questions. Why? Because the truth is there's no one size case that fits all. I'm your partner in identifying the perfect case to fit all of your needs. So functionality, level of protection, budget. We understand that budget is a very real thing. Are the students carrying them in backpacks? Will the devices stay in the classroom? Sometimes it's as simple as, getting a case with a handle if they're moving between classrooms. And let's be honest, middle school, not surprisingly, usually needs the most protection as well. So for those of you listening, sometimes you just need something that's a little bit more protective on your devices. I mentioned we started with our prototype for our iPad case. We now have, including different colors and different sizes, like over 50 cases. And again, that's where my expertise comes in. We have snap-on shells, always on cases, messenger bags, sleeves, backpacks, clear and fabric backpacks, iPad cases. Not just the prototype, we have ones with handles, with a screen protector. We also have good, better, best options for you because, again, we understand that budget is a very real thing. And then you also need protection. But you can trust us with every case because we only make our cases for K-12. We reinforce all wear points. We have ID windows on all of our cases or clear backing because we understand that you need to asset tag or that headache of managing lost devices or damaged devices. You need to be able to identify the cases or the device in the case easily. We can customize cases for you, not a problem. I work with many school districts through ACPE that I met where we have a customized color or we add their logo. And one of the largest school districts in the Pacific Northwest took a case and decided that they wanted the handle in a different position. Not a problem. We are a family-owned company. We own the manufacturing. There's nothing that we can't do for you. So why select? I understand there's some choices out there, but you'll see me every year at ACPE. And why work with Bump Armor? We're easy to work with. We offer exceptional customer service. That is the core of our value system. We provide free samples so you can make informed decisions. Your meeting, talking about all of the different pieces of the puzzles that come together, and cases, while we're a small part of that when it comes to the deployment, we're a very important piece. And we want to get samples in your hands so that you can touch it, feel it, test it on the devices, and again, make a more informed decision with you and your team. We have aggressive educational pricing. We only sell to K-12. We understand where you need to be, and we make it happen. Our high quality products truly reduce device damage. That keeps your devices in service longer. And we move with unmatched urgency. I've sent this meme out to so many people, but it really is kind of how I see myself or my team is that cat meme when it's like typing on the keyboard.
Yes.
Because we're here to serve you and make it easy for you and making sure that we get the right samples and the right pricing in front of you the first time so that you can focus on all of the pieces of the puzzle of your deployment and have a seamless deployment with those cases on your devices. And we also have 3 warehouses in the US. So you want to be able to work with someone that you can trust and that can fulfill your orders. And that's us. So even if you're unsure, for all of you listening, if you're unsure about your deployment plans, I would still love to talk to you. I would love to get a sample in your hands because I always say if they're not deploying today, they could be deploying tomorrow. If you're not sending devices home, you may need something for protection like a snap-on, or we have a cart case that would go into the charging carts that's going to help when those devices are bumped and dropped even within a classroom. So I'd love to hear from you. Get samples in your hands, no strings attached. You can email me at Tatiana, Tatiana, at bumparmor.com. I also encourage all of you to check out our social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X. Sorry, I've aged myself now. We're also on LinkedIn, but we have some really fun new content and helpful content that's going up regularly. Give us a like. You'll have some fun following us. And I just want to say, thank you to Mark, to Rachel, and the entire ACPE community. You guys it's been an honor to serve so many of you. And, I've worked with Olympia and I've worked with many other districts. And I really look forward to meeting many more of you that are listening and hopefully watching as well. So let's keep those devices protected and our students learning.
Awesome.
Tatiana, I am so glad that you and Mark are friends. And for everyone listening, Tatiana said, you should watch the video because she's showing off some of the gear, but you also need to see her do the cat meme typing on the keyboard. Yes. And I really wish that we had a Foley. Is the Foley, that's what you call the sound effects person? Yes, with the ka-dum. Yeah. When Tatiana knocked on that case, we do not have the budget for a Foley. So that was actually her knocking on the case.
I just would like to say, and I've worked with Tatiana in the past, the free sample thing's not a joke. She will also put your device in a case and throw it on the floor.
Yes.
So that's always entertaining too. It's always a good time. It
didn't break.
I screwed up this year. I screwed up and gave the wrong model number. And we were delivered 500 something cases of the wrong model. And they did not even bat an eye. No. Not that I'm trying to set you up for, because maybe it was just me you're doing a favor for. But didn't bat an eyelash. You said, here's the RMA. We're going to come pick it up and we're going to make this right. And we shipped it out. And, it's just awesome. Great customer service.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I say we're easy to work with, I think one of the beauty of working for a family-owned company is we can react quickly, and our sense of urgency. And our customers, we're not looking for a customer to earn your business for your next deployment. We want to work with you, myself, for those next 10 years. So yeah, thank you, Mark. And yeah, the free sample is not a joke, so please reach out to me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tatiana. I remember that first year at ACPE. Looking forward to seeing you again. And everybody else listening, don't be like Mark. Order correctly. Don't drive our sponsor partners over bridges because they have to RMA things all the time.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
We really appreciate your support of the conference and then of this, our baby podcast as we keep growing. And we'll see you in about 9 months or so.
No, we'll see her you and I will see her in like 3 days.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah. We'll see you soon, Tatiana.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you again.
Thanks.
Mark. So I was going to joke that I am old enough to remember when one of the very largest districts in ACPE forgot to do the white glove service and cases for a, tens of thousands of Chromebook devices order, and that was not a good summer. So I was chuckling at the customization and whether it's the laser engraving on the device or a logo on a bag. It still makes me chuckle thinking of a whole team in a warehouse all summer long provisioning and kitting out gear.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, what I will say, and I know we don't go too far into the sponsorships usually, but this one doesn't really match our episode theme. And I was thinking, who is somebody that does provide a service to our organization that we're probably not going to do an episode about cases, I would say. So I just wanted to have an opportunity to bring Tatiana in here because she really does care about ACPE. She cares about our membership, and she really is that kind of person who tries to build relationships with us. So it was just kind of a no-brainer to me. So give her a shout. There's lots of case companies out there, but it's nice to support, and they will aggressively price. I can say that. So
So speaking of building relationships, I think you have some news to share with us.
I do. I have a new friend.
Yeah, you have a new friend.
His name is Joe. And a few of you might know this already, but I don't want to shock anybody. But Joe is a guy who is inside my head. Last week, I went to Las Vegas on my way to an RTM and stopped off for a night with some friends, and we had lots of fun. And then I got on a plane the next day, and I had a seizure on the airplane. And I'm not shy about sharing that kind of stuff, but thankfully we were still on the ground. And I ended up in the hospital and found that I have a type of brain tumor in my head, which I'll find out more about on Saturday. But most of the news, it looks like the news is actually pretty good. It's very treatable in a removal type of sense. but you can hear that I sound a little funny. They've got me on some medicine that makes me hiccup like crazy. And today's been a pretty good hiccup day, but once I start hiccuping, I either have to try and get it to stop by drinking something, or I'll eat some peanut butter. Peanut butter works. So I might just start eating peanut butter in the middle of the episode, but it's made my voice go a little funny. But the indications from the MRI that I got at the hospital indicate that it's a meningioma. It's on the outer layer of my brain, and it's removable. It's not in the tissue itself. It's just causing some swelling and some bruising of the brain itself. So I'm doing okay. I just can't sleep right now. I'm kind of a mess because I'm hiccuping constantly.
Yeah.
And I'm a little dingy right now. I'm running on 2 hours of sleep last night. And it is what it is.
It is what it is.
We named it Joe. Rachel and I talked at length about this.
Yes.
So we named it Joe for Joe Manganiello, our favorite Magic Mike dancer.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. It could have also been Chuck for Chuck Mangione, the trumpet player, flugelhorn player, excuse me. But yes, I have a bonus guy right about here.
Yeah.
In my head. And
Mark,
I can't drive. That's
Mark
the big
says,
thing. I'm not allowed to
Mark
drive.
Can't drive. Oh, Mark, one of my first questions for Mark when we connected in real time was, okay, so tell me about the freak out cycle. And he's like, oh, I didn't freak out. And I'm like, okay, well, great. But the rest of us were completely freaked out in alternating cycles for at least 24 to 48 hours. And so it was good to see your face on the episode with Josh and Joe, which will drop soon. Mm-hmm. It's good to see you here. And I do just wonder though and this is where I think you'll know that all of us care for you and we're freaked out. But I also wonder, like, if you've been functioning on whatever fraction of a brain and you're like the smartest among us,
that's not
what
true.
happens when Joe gets evicted and you have full brain capacity again? I don't know if the world is ready for this.
I was asked if people thought I'd be a better golfer.
The important things in life.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes. Although I think the will you have a cool scar is the more important part than if you'll be a better golfer. I'm hoping for like a stapled zipper Frankenstein look for at least a couple weeks.
Part of my conversation today was, if I don't put the bone back in, what goes in instead? Is it steel? Is it gold? Is it like a composite?
Ooh.
Should it be magnetic so we can stick things to it?
Like Magneto.
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
Oh my gosh. I thought you were going to go with like
my phone to it.
Yeah, I thought you were going to go with like the thing that would hold the beer can, like when you got the helmets on or the hats on with the 2 beer can holders on either side. That'd be an option too. Okay, I want to bring on our guests, if that's okay, to see what they think that
thank you for the opportunity to kind of share with everybody what's going on. I think that'll help people understand why I'm sucking on a pack of peanut butter.
Yeah.
By the way, peanut butter works for hiccups, apparently.
Yeah. And hiccuping, not burping, like when I see the scene from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and the like burping the way down from the champagne tunnel. All right, so Jeff and Emilie, I'm going to start bringing you onto the screen. And Mark, just know, again, we joke a bit about this because the freak out is at a lower level than it was, but looking forward to hearing good news soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yes. Jeff, Emilie, welcome to the Plugged In podcast. Thanks for being so patient as we did a little bit slower ramp up this evening and joining us, taking time from your evenings. I'm going to give you a minute or two and just a bit to introduce yourselves, but Mark left us a good opening opportunity. If you were Mark's surgeon, what material would you recommend that we close the skull with after Joe gets evicted?
It's probably a good time for some kind of an implant in a computer in the
So
like
like a circuit board kind of something?
Could be.
I was just thinking about what Rachel said earlier about the beer cans or whatever, and I thought of like a Lego hand, just, like sticking out right here, just to conveniently stick things in.
That's brilliant. Okay. Because then it's like multi-purpose, not just...
It could be the Lego sheet, right? It could be the Lego sheet base.
Yes, a sheet of Legos
with Lego hand on.
Some days you feel like the little pink round flowers and yellow, and you get the little stems and things sticking up from the ground. Other days it could be the Minecraft set with the axes. You could, depending on your mood, it'd be a blank palette to work with every day.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Emilie, those are both great ideas, but I do like the Lego idea.
It'd be the greatest babysitter ever. You could just sit there and let kids build on your head. That'd be awesome.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So, Emilie and Jeff, I have been waiting for this episode for weeks now. I have been watching the conversations and super eager to hear more about the mentoring group and program and project that you have been pulling together with other ACPE peers. Again, thanks for taking time out of a Monday evening in September to come talk to us about it. Jeff, will you take a moment and say hello first? Introduce yourself.
Sure. Thanks. Happy to be here. I am currently the Executive Director of Technology Services for the district I live in, Gresham-Barlow School District. Great district. And yeah, I've been in education technology 15 years. So 10 of that as an IT director. And yeah, I'm super excited to be working with Emilie on this project, and we'll talk more about it, but it's pretty exciting. I think it's going to be great for ACPE.
Jeff, I think I met you when you must have been about 12.
And he was still 12 feet tall.
You were at MESD at Multnomah ESD. Is that right?
That's right.
Yep. Was it maybe as we started working on synergy migrations and things like that we would have first connected?
Yep, that's how we met. Yeah, I was on the synergy team at MESD when we started the migration to synergy from ESIS.
Yes. Blink, blink. It seems like it was not that long ago, but it actually was a while ago. Yes. And then Emilie, I got to meet you in person because for a brief moment of a good storyline, we had you as one of our district systems administrators, systems engineers in Central Oregon. And now Shelby, said in the tone of like Newman from Seinfeld, has stolen you. And actually, I think it was Alan was involved too, back up to your home turf in Washington. So Emilie, take it away and say hello to everyone.
Hello. I'm also very happy to be here. And like Jeff, very happy to be working in my home district now. Not that I didn't enjoy working in Central Oregon. I really did. And Rachel, it was wonderful working with you, more so than I get to now. So that's definitely something I miss about working in Kirk County. But so I worked remotely. I was one of the few people, or I was the first person at Kirk County to work remotely as a systems engineer. And I started in 2022. So that was my introduction to working in education. Was I had been in tech for a long time, but I hadn't worked in education before. So I now work for Northshore, and I'm a systems analyst, and I'm very happy to be at Northshore now. I'm going to say Shelby instead of Shelby.
We'll continue this trope for many months, I think. And we miss you, Emilie. And I am so happy for you to be in your home district and surrounded by the team that has made Trivia Night the best night for so many years now. Yes. So welcome again to the Plugged In podcast. We always say like, oh, it'll be like a short little intro and then we'll do some Plugged In. But I do want to see what everybody's like reading, playing, listening to, because I am lame, as Mark likes to point out from time to time.
I never ever say that.
And I like to hear what other people are plugged into to inform my own lists. Is that a more polite way to say it, Mark?
Sure.
Yes.
We love diverse viewpoints on the things that we enjoy.
Yes. But Emilie, I'm going to start now, this time with Emilie, because she, in the pregame chat, dropped in a concert that I am already jealous of.
Yeah, on Friday, I went to see Rez at the Tacoma Dome with my son, who is 18 and just a great concert partner. Actually, DJ Diesel, I don't know if you know who that is, opened for Rez. That's Shaquille O'Neal, in case anybody did not know.
Shaq Diesel.
And I did not expect that, and it was really great and really funny and fun and interesting. And several times he was like, "Where's my mosh pit?" And like in his, very distinctive voice. And when Shaq tells you to raise your hands, you do. Yes, I will raise my hands in the air for you, Shaq. But Rez was amazing. I had seen her. This was the third time I had gone to one of her shows, and I'd been in Vancouver, Canada, Red Rocks, and finally she came to Washington. So I was so excited to see her at Tacoma Dome, and I learned that she is the first female DJ to headline at Tacoma Dome.
Nice.
So, yes. Very
and
cool.
is it Portal this summer? Is that
Portal is the tour. It's like a special series of shows that she's doing right now, and she's doing a different tour this summer.
So lucky. So lucky.
Tacoma Dome is a tough venue. It's I've seen Seven Lions, Above and Beyond, but one of my favorite shows, and I've seen her. I know, but one of my favorites, I've seen her there 3 times, but she didn't headline, was Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, very cool.
And Alice in Wonderland was awesome. Just an amazing, amazing show. She's so good.
And Emilie, is your son a Rez fan, or was this more for you or him?
No, he and his dad are both into heavy metal together, and he and I are more into EDM together. So he goes to a bunch of heavy metal concerts with his dad, and he goes to EDM shows with me.
It's a good blend. Lucky kid.
Is he a Sullivan King fan?
I haven't heard him say that, but he likes so much music. I would not be surprised. He likes just about everything.
Yeah, Sullivan King is dubstep, but actually plays electric guitar on the booth, like stands on the booth and shreds. It's a really interesting mix. I saw him right after Alice in Wonderland at the Dome, actually. It was awesome.
Very cool.
Jeff, any concerts?
I was going to say maybe similar to what Emilie said about going to, concerts with your kids.
Mm-hmm.
My kids and my wife are really into Back to the Future, the trilogy. And I just learned the other day that they're making a musical, Back to the Future, the musical. So I think we're going to go see that when that comes into Portland in the spring. So,
that'll be good.
Yeah. With a musical, it could be great or it could be, So we'll see.
I was just in Vegas and they're doing the Wizard of Oz in the Sphere right now. And they are saying it's making so much money. It's sold out every single night. And they're like, they should just let this thing run forever.
It's the Gregory Maguire and then the stage production.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't think it's the original. I think it's a reproduction.
Okay.
This whole Sphere was just lit up on the outside with Wizard of Oz stuff when I was there. And
yeah, that's very cool. So Jeff, in addition to Back to the Future trilogy in your future plans, I think you're reading more than concerting right now. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely audiobooks are my jam. Yeah. And I'd say my interests are varied, but I like the, dystopian and a little post-apocalyptic kind of genre.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's an indication that my life is too mundane. I seek out things that are just totally different from it. I don't know. But,
yeah.
Just interesting.
So what's your dystopian novel at the moment?
I don't have one going right now. I just finished one a couple weeks ago, and I binge watched The Man in High Castle, which I think, Mark, I heard from you. That was good.
Not me. I want to say I was going to start it and I never did.
Okay. I think it's pretty good. It's like, it's not too far from reality to be, interesting and relatable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Lots of drama.
Yeah. Rachel and I talked about the fact that we both are hip to the Commune series, which is Joshua Gayu, which is a post-apocalyptic wasteland-ish kind of thing. Basically the worst of people, like your typical dystopian stuff. But then there's your super fun dystopian stuff out there too that's just wacky and off the wall. And I drive an hour each way to work, so I listen to a lot of books. And, dystopian ones are on there. One that I really started getting into and the guy stopped writing was Alternate Dimensions, and the dimension they're in, the Yellowstone volcano goes off. And it's basically destroying the world. But they're able to slip into an alternate dimension where it happened well before.
Okay, well, I'll check that out. I hadn't heard that.
And then I'm going to chime in and say, first of all, I'm kind of like Jeff in total squeal mode because I am finally going to see Mamma Mia the musical on the stage with friends later this fall. And I just love as many of you may know, I love the cheesy singing and dancing and all of that happening in groups. So can't wait. And then I have been hooked again on a video game. It's not The Last of Us. It's not Mark and April's 57 minutes of talking about various multiplayer, but it is a really intriguing game called The Chance of, I think you say Sonar. You're dropped in and need to navigate this village, and you have to essentially decode the language. You have to deconstruct the ways that the patterns are formed to make characters, words, instructions, and it's really addicting. I'm also back to the utopian versus the dystopian, which every time I think about that, I think of Star Trek: The Next Generation as the utopian version and Star Wars as the dystopian, even though in our kind of collective, I think, cultural vibe on it, we have these warm spots for Star Wars for those of us of a certain age, because it was our elementary through teen years. But when you think about the living conditions, the Star Trek part in the Star Trek series, especially maybe Next Generation, are much more utopian. So what this, the way that this weaves together is I'm fascinated currently with the hopscotching and the jumping that's happening between Google, Apple, Microsoft, and others, even ChatGPT and OpenAI throw in there, on real-time language translation. So Apple's released the new AirPods, right, that you can turn into translation mode. The other Google Translate is, you can put your phone on the table and put it into translation mode. I happened to be at the Oregon Public Sector Cybersecurity Summit last week in Salem, and Victor from OSU was there, and we were talking about these tools. And now on the ChatGPT app on your phone, also you can put it into live translation mode, and there's just like a couple second delay between us. And I immediately think of, all the tropes, right? Like lingua franca and the markets of Champagne and how we came about with like business language, right? The market of finance and the market of business. Tower of Babel, this like how to interact in this space where there's not a common language. And then, but to tie it all back together is the next generation, especially with the tricorders and being able to talk across all of the languages. And I feel like we're in this wormhole, see what I did there, of approaching that thing that was even just a few years ago seemed out of reach. And so kind of a fun time, and just lots of news happening in this space, which for those of us in K-12 actually has practical considerations for our families and our students and our staff when it's time for meetings and conferences and things like that, but also kind of feeds my geeky side too. That was a lot of words.
So to throw in on that, because you really did make me think there for a second, Rachel, of Star Wars.
Was it you or was it Joe?
Dystopian and Star Trek, utopian. But I have two shows that I want to throw out to the group, and you can tell me if you think they're utopian or dystopian. First would be Firefly Serenity.
So I want to say utopian, but I'm actually going to say dystopian.
I would agree. I think it's dystopian.
Yep.
It's got a very Wild West feel to it, right? Mm-hmm. They really play into, like, you have your big your inner capital, but you have all the fringe, and it's kind of focused on the fringe and the weird fringe stuff. But my second one is what I'm watching right now, and I mentioned this. In the last episode, Alien Earth. Alien Earth is on FX right now, and I'm on episode 4, and I am loving it so much. It's so good. And the reason, I'm just going to go ahead and say that I think it's dystopian, and I think all the Alien movies are dystopian because of the fact that the corporations run everything. And in the series Alien Earth, they actually talk about how the corporations took over because the governments failed. And how there's 5 major corporations, and they split things up, and they basically self-govern each other. And it's a really interesting idea that I think all of the Alien movies are based on, but they never really get into it entirely. It's fascinating. I think it's really fascinating that you have such a high-tech society with, it's so science fiction, but the whole gamut is run by corporations.
Yep.
So
that could spawn like a whole new series of like the business angle of that.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about how the businesses just took over for the government when the government failed, and how to be a successful corporation in that environment.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it's hitting a little too close to home right now.
But
it also makes me think of the Hunger Games, which I've thought about in like this really. So yeah, thanks for the thumbs up, Jeff. I have thought about the Hunger Games more in the past 8 years or so, 10 years, and not politically, but thinking about how the city versus the country.
I think the ending scene of the last movie is really good on that one in terms of who's the evil person, right? Because you have those two leadership authority figures, and they both seem to be a little bit evil. So
yeah,
not trying to give a spoiler.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. All
when
right.
you were talking about corporations,
Emily.
that made me think of Murderbot, because I know that Martha Wells says that she wrote the series because she was so angry. And she was so angry about the way she saw things going when it comes to corporations and more power being given to corporations. And she imagined a future that is ruled by corporations as well. And then there were some outlaws in the preservation area. Yeah. Anyway, that's
interesting.
Just what I thought of when you were
I
talking
hadn't
about.
heard that part, right? Yes. And then to contrast, I think Larry Ellison, just in the past few days said something to the effect of like, well, when we just have the companies running things and we have this tight surveillance everywhere, then we won't have to worry. So I do feel like we're living in a novel right now. And the ones that we talk about on this podcast, maybe we conjured it, Mark.
Thanks.
I hope we did not manifest anything. That's for sure.
And really quickly, the reason I grimaced when you were talking about Alien, Mark, is because I was really hoping to have watched one episode before we recorded tonight.
So what I love about Alien Earth is so many throwbacks to like Peter Pan and some really interesting things, but they go find different specimens. It's not just the alien. They find all sorts of things and they are nasty. Like nasty, and it's super fun. I enjoy it.
All right. Okay, I will catch up with you. Hopefully we'll have some space here in the weeks ahead. So Emilie and Jeff, you both identified this opportunity, this space that there's a place for it in ACPE, and gathered a group. Do you want to tell us where you are and the kind of concept of how ACPE can support with your leadership, making mentoring connections in our community?
Yeah. Emily, you want to tell them how this started?
Sure. So in 2024, between 11 and midnight, when I was falling asleep one night, I had like 3 brilliant ideas for things to present at the conference because I wanted to present at the conference. I was excited about doing that. So, being somewhat impulsive, I grabbed my phone, went to the page, and entered all of my ideas one at a time into the submission page. And
I remember.
you're like, 11:38 p.m. What is she doing? Anyway, the one that got selected was the one that was about mentoring. And at first I was like, wait, I don't know things about mentoring. The whole reason I suggested this because like I was hoping somebody would do it, because when I first county, I didn't know about working in education. I knew about working in tech, but I didn't know about working in education. I would have loved somebody to show me the ropes and help me acclimate and understand all of the things that were shorthand that I just didn't know. And so I thought, well, okay, I'll become an expert and I will learn everything that I can so that I can give a really good presentation. And I envisioned having a space where people would meet each other and decide to be mentor and mentee and walk off hand in hand. But that is not what happened, which is totally fine. I also just gave a presentation that was about how to be a really good mentor and how to be a really good mentee, because I thought that was important for people to know should that ever come up for them. And I remember prior to giving the presentation, Jeff sent me an email and he was like, I'm going to be giving my own presentation during the time of your panel. I really wish that I could end your panel, but I won't be able to. But if there's any kind of support or anything that you need, let me know. When I heard in 2025 the theme was going to be included, I thought, oh, we've got to reprise this and have another. So, okay, I'll do it again. I did it the first time. I'll do it again. And then at that one, it was more well attended. And I think part of that is because it was outside and it was just gorgeous. Also, there happened to be some people just sitting at tables and they just sort of were like, oh, there's a presentation. Cool. We'll hang out and be at the presentation. And Jeff was there this time and it came up again. We really should have an ACPE mentoring program. And I was like, yes, we absolutely should. And then Jeff's
and then everybody took one big step behind you.
Right.
And you were the one left standing up front.
Yeah. And so then Jeff said, well, if you want to, be the front man, go for it. And like, I will back you up. And I was like, yeah, oh, it's us. Okay, sure. Let's do that. Okay. It's got to happen. We'll make it happen. And Jeff is not like sitting behind twiddling his thumbs. He is so supportive. He's got great ideas. He's reaching out to people. He's taking notes. Like, he's taking notes. I don't have to take notes. He's amazing.
Well done, Jeff Gibbs.
And he's a tech director and he's taking notes. And I'm just like, wow, that's kind of cool.
Well, I've never gotten so many kudos for taking notes at a meeting, but
good job, Jeff.
It's a big deal.
I like to take notes,
Yeah, it's a big deal.
But no, I remember that presentation from Emilie at ACPE. It was nice outside. Very, very nice. But I remember, just thinking she knows exactly how it should work, the structure of a mentoring relationship, what that looks like. And we just need to help get people together. There's this, I think everybody agrees that having a mentor and a mentee can be a really valuable relationship. And certainly Emilie and I have talked about it a lot, but finding that person is the hard part. And so kind of in ACPE fashion, we're tapping into our community. We're trying to connect people, and we're all about learning. So a lot of us have successful student internship programs that are teaching kids, skills to become a tech support when they graduate. So this is just kind of another way of the ACPE community getting together and supporting each other and growing together. So we kind of, figured out what this is going to look like, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but just needed a way to match people up, some expertise or some skills and some knowledge with people that want that. So yeah, I think it's going to be great. We're super excited about it. I'm
super excited to hear more also. I think you actually do have some things cooked up literally, right? It's more than just an idea now.
We're ready to launch. So if you're listening and you're interested, October 7th, the applications will be live. So you can apply to be a mentor, a mentee, or both if you want to do both. So get excited. Tell everybody you work with who doesn't listen to this podcast. We're hoping for a good turnout.
Yeah.
So I have had actually a little experience with this. One of our newest board members is Lori Curtis from the White River School District. If you don't know Lori, she's amazing. She was a TOSA for me. And when Lori became the tech director in White River, she declared that I would be her mentor. She didn't ask. She just said, "You will be my mentor." And I said, "Okay, I think you've been telling me what to do for the last 7 years anyway. So that sounds great." But what a wonderful opportunity for folks. I think that I've seen this done at what is now SITE. It used to be SEPA. Down in California, they have a mentorship program for people to become CIO, executive director types of roles, and they build some very strong cohorts down there. And when I started to hear about this, that's all I could think of was a similar program of people that have their own mentor. And I, for one, would love to throw my name in there as a mentor or a guest speaker or somebody who can come and, share 20-something years of tech director experience, of just how things have worked. I'm sure all of us would love to be part of that because you've heard me say our strength is our membership. And
absolutely,
and I know that you guys believe that. So
yep.
For sure.
I think we'll go ahead, Emily.
I was just going to say, but to that point, I don't think that somebody has to be in a leadership role or have been in education for 15 years in order to be a mentor. I think that we all have something to offer to each other. And being a mentor doesn't even necessarily mean coming into it with some specialized knowledge or expertise. Sometimes you just need somebody to rubber duck for you and to be there to help you work through a situation. And we all are able to give good advice. And we all are very supportive to each other. So I would encourage people who wouldn't typically think of themselves as being in a leadership role currently to strongly consider mentoring because we all have something that we can offer. I also would say that we all often have times that we could use a little bit extra support, and you don't have to think like, oh, but I've been a tech director for 20 years. I couldn't possibly need anything, yet I've got this problem that I don't know how to work through right now. Well, I'll just tough it out. No, you could also find somebody who could mentor you and help you work through a specific situation. So there's lots of reasons that you could decide to enter into the program, either a mentor, mentee, or both, as Jeff mentioned earlier.
Yep. I think that's one of the differences between the California program, Mark, that you mentioned, is ours is really everybody. Mm-hmm. The California program is really kind of like expiring leaders and managers, and ours is everybody. So we're hoping to match up people. Maybe somebody has great knowledge on scripting and somebody wants to get better at scripting. let's partner them up. And maybe they meet for a few months, maybe they meet for a year. It's flexible like that. So we can match people up and try to meet everybody's need, whether it's small, big, or no matter what it is, what the area is they're looking to grow in.
So I was going to ask a couple of questions about the logistics. You touched on, Jeff and Emilie, both what I was wondering. One was, are these more transitory? That's not the right word. Are these more kind of just in time? And to your point, Jeff, right? Some of them may be shorter term, where others may be years. Did you go out and look at other models for groups that do similar things, or is this really a dream that was co-created or created within a small group, and that does allow for the flexibility that's different than some of the more structured programs? I'm really intrigued by this just-in-time delivery within the mentorship program.
Yeah, I think the other programs I've seen usually have like an annual cadence, and that's what we're planning at least for this first year. So we'll have an application window starting October 7th, and it'll run a few weeks, and then the pairs can stay together as long as they want, really. If that's just a few meetings, or if it's the school year, or if they want to continue next year too, they can. But our kind of thought was that we would maybe every fall try to rematch up mentors and mentees.
What's the role for the two of you in this? And is it just the two of you, or what's the role for the convening committee? Is it a lot of effort on the matching and making sure that folks are connecting, or more hands off? What's your sense?
So Jeff and I have been the ones, I guess you could say, we are spearheading this. And so we have met several times. We have not met with anyone else yet, but we have a chat in Discord that is us and a few other people who were expressing interest in supporting the program. And so we have identified so far some people who have said some ways that they would be willing to help support the program, including helping us when it comes time. So we had imagined that we and some others would create the matches, and we've talked a little bit already about how we're going to process that and do that. And so we have a few people who would like to help us facilitate the matches. And then we have some others who would like to supervise the matches, just be there as like a mentor for the matches to help anybody who might need something along the way. And there were a few other roles that we talked about of ways that people could be supportive. And there are people who expressed interest in mentoring as well in that group. And we developed a questionnaire that we have ready for our prospective mentees, and we bounced it off the people in the group already so that we could have some good feedback.
Yeah, wonderful. What would bring you joy if we were sitting here, let's say in November 2026, kind of looking back on the first year of the mentorship program?
We've titled it ACPE Mentoring.
Perfect. So a year from now, we're reflecting back on the first year of ACPE mentoring. Yep. If there's something that you're like, this is what I would want to be able to tell, do you have a sense of that?
So I'm excited for the end of the year. I think Emilie had a great idea where at ACPE we have the mentors and mentees match up, right? Because they may be 7 hours away. One is in Washington, one's in Oregon, one's rural, one's more urban. So they may not get to see each other in person except for the conference. So we're hoping to coordinate that, have like a party at the end of the year with all the mentees and mentors. But I'd also like to see just great feedback from those people about how they grew, right? It's really about growing and helping each other get better. So I'm excited to see people, raise their hand and say, hey, I could use a little help with this, or I want to grow in this area. And then at the end of the year, looking back and saying, I got a lot out of this. Yeah. And then maybe next year signing up again, maybe being a mentor next year or a mentee again. What about you, Emilie?
Yeah, I agree with so much of what you said. And I also think that it would just be great to hear how people felt about the program and what the experience was like. But I really do love the idea of people getting together, as many who possibly could, and having a little party or just having a session where we do like hey, we started an ACPE mentoring program and it was awesome. And here's how it was. And now we are if it's November, we're getting our matches together for the second year. And we're so excited. We've doubled the number of people who did it last year because it went so well.
That would be lovely. I really like the idea Jeff said earlier. Maybe it's somebody who, is wanting to learn scripting, and it's good to have that, someone to bounce things off of. As someone further along in my career, there are times where just getting to listen to other people's stories and then tell a little bit of my own, and there may not be an outcome of a script language that I become more proficient at, but I also feel like the human side is a lovely way to start too. And it kind of blurs the line a little bit from the traditional like mentor and mentee. But in my life, I have often realized that the time I think I'm the mentor, I'm the mentee. And sometimes when I'm a mentee, it turns out that there are moments where you're the mentor. And it's one of my favorite things about the complexity of the human condition is that learning from each other regardless of job title and tenure and size of district. And Mark, I saw you nodding a bunch there.
There's just a lot that goes into this. I mean, I came from the instructional side. I was an elementary teacher, and I truly believed when I was teaching that you should never be the sage on the stage. You should never be that person. The kids might have been 11 years old. They might have been 10 years old, but I was learning alongside them every single day. And that's just a natural thing is I don't know every answer and they don't know every answer because they're kids. But I think that an opportunity like this is just so important. And I'll kind of take a little bit of a bird walk. My college football coach was less of a football coach and more of a motivational speaker. He's in the College Football Hall of Fame, and I think he ever coached me on one football skill ever in 5 years. But one of his favorite things to say was, if you're green, you're growing, and if you're ripe, you're rotting. And it's such a easy, childish thing, kind of a funny little thing that kids would say, but it's so true, right? If you believe that you're there, if you believe that you're that person that knows everything because of your experience or because of, your age or whatever it is, you're totally off base. There's so much you can learn from everybody. And what I'm kind of nodding at is I think matching people up with mentors and mentees really is exactly what you said. You're both mentees in some way. So now, how do those two people who are in a support role, right? They're basically in a support style role, go find somebody else, right? How do they find somebody that the two of them can glean some information from to help guide their process of making decisions together? Because I see that support role as maybe Rachel is giving some advice, but she's not their mentor, but she's got experiences that are helping them work together to develop some of those decision-making processes because she's really good at procurement or really good at leadership or really good at policy or whatever it is. So, I mean, I resound with this so much that I kind of wish you guys would have talked to me.
I believe there was an open call, Mark. So,
I mean, sorry.
I didn't see you jump in on the Discord.
Yeah.
I'm 50-50 on the Discord. I'm there and I'm not there, but I think there's just a ton of power here. And I think there's community here. And it's just, I love every bit of this. I think it's got a ton of promise.
Absolutely. So, first of all, the College Football Hall of Fame could have been earned. I'm just going to say it out loud again. If you're green, you're growing. If you are ripe, you're rotting. Like, that's a ticket into a Hall of Fame.
I mean,
even if
was an amazing person.
Yes. And assuming that, he lived that as his coaching style as well. What a great, great, great phrase. I thought I had heard all of the phrases like that in my life, and apparently not, because
I thought you were all going to groan and be
I
like,
had not
oh my
heard
God.
that one.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
Yes. So back to ACPE mentoring. Am I wrong in assuming that you're thinking more inter-district, so like not in the same district matchups than intra-district matchups? Is that true, or it's not defined?
That's what I'm thinking. I don't want to speak for Emily, but part of it is you also, humans have a tendency of not wanting to look bad in front of people they see every day.
What?
So
it doesn't bother me.
I wouldn't probably match somebody up with the person that works down the hall from them, because maybe they could have already talked to them, and a fresh perspective might be more fruitful.
Yeah.
I think that's what I envisioned too. I think that I envisioned that this would be a situation where people would have the opportunity to learn from somebody, to share back and forth some learning between people who wouldn't necessarily normally have interacted. Because you may have and have had informal mentoring relationships with many people you come into contact with. Rachel, as you were saying about some of the relationships you've had many times before, and this would give you an opportunity to work with somebody on a level that is a little different and with someone who you wouldn't normally interact.
Yeah, we did in the application to try to tease out some preferences of work style and other things to help make sure that it's, people that can get along and communicate well together, not just have a matching skill sets that they need to share, but more of the personal interaction and that type of thing.
And I wonder, and as a comical aside, some of the sessions that are my favorites from conferences are the ones where I just happen to be like, oh, it's the perfect spot because we're looking at the mountain or the waterfall and the sun's shining right in this spot. Or I've been sitting here talking to my friends and we don't really want to get up. And so you just stay in the session. My goodness, I think that like 50% at least of those have been in the top tier of sessions that it's like magic that the universe said, be lazy and don't stand up and just stay for this session because they've been incredible. I bet there are a number of the ACPE membership who they don't have a lot of interaction with people outside of their district besides, their social groups in town or their family when they go home. And I do wonder about some of this unexpected conversations that would spark these moments of, oh my gosh, I, had that same experience 2 coworkers ago and not even having a solution, but just being able to commiserate and listen. Those are some of the most challenging years where things are not awful enough to like leave or to, fill out paperwork on things. It's just enough off though that it feels like everything's harder than it should be. What I like is that as you're teasing this out, it sounds like there's really thoughtful intention around what questions to ask, how to think about matching people for higher chances of success, but not over engineering.
Yeah, that's correct. I really would love to see situations where people have just a temporary something that is happening, whether it's a challenge in the form of work or a challenge in the form of a person or a challenge in the form of an interaction or in any kind of challenge. Again, it can be very temporary, but you can bring it to, it'd be great just to bounce this off somebody and or get support on it. And I would love to see those kinds of relationships happen and then maybe turn into more of a back and forth, or maybe it's like, wow, I got through that and I'm okay and I don't really need support per se at this time, but we are allowing it to be very tailored to each situation. We are saying the match together is going to figure out how often you meet and how much time you allot to it and what the boundaries and guidelines are. And we are leaving that to each match to decide. But we also are not leaving you on your own to just freeform a thing. We've got some guidelines that we are prepared to give and some best practices that we are offering so that nobody feels like they're just being thrown out there. Okay, now you're an expert. Figure out how to teach this person the thing. Good luck.
Yes. Almost needs to come with like a starter deck of where there's a like awkward pause as you're getting to know each other, because I suspect for some people there will be some of that. There would be for me if it's not somebody that you've been to 72 ACPEs with over the years. And so how to navigate those moments as you're getting to know each other and then chuckling months later at, remember when we were kind of like, so what do we talk about now? What do we do now? Yeah.
Sorry, I was on mute because I was hiccuping. I do have a question for the two of you. And again, was not paying attention. I'm sorry to this. But what do you need from us? Like, is there any resources that we as an organization can provide you that would make life a little bit easier for the pairings? And could be that you have a mentor and a mentee that want to do a book study. Like they have a book and we could get you guys a book, or we provide you a space, or we bring in a speaker for a group of people. Is there anything that you foresee would make just this go better? Like, how could we help as a board?
Seems like we need to have you in that room when Jeff and I are meeting, Mark. You have a lot of good ideas and you said you'd like to be involved with it. So I think we definitely would like to talk to you and find out what you think would be helpful. But I love the things that you're offering. I think it would be great to be able to provide a book to people who would like to look at a book together, to provide space for people who need it if that comes up in the future. For sure, at the next conference, we'd like to have a venue for them to get together. And we've been talking about maybe giving them something cool that represents that they were part of the mentoring program. So if there's a way that the board could support some creation of some cool stuff that we can give them as a memento or a advertisement for the program, we would appreciate that as well.
Well, Rachel and I are making a little money now.
Mark has friends.
We all have friends.
Yes, we do. Yes.
I will tag on to that and say, if you and everybody that's listening to this, share this program with other people, with your coworkers, because if we get 5 people, it's going to be really hard to match people up. But if we get a good pool, it'll be easier for us to make good quality matches that are beneficial to everybody. So do spread the word.
Absolutely. That's the easy part.
Mm-hmm.
Emilie and Jeff, thank you so much for your leadership in this effort. Thanks for spending some time here with us this evening to tell us a little bit more. Are there other elements that we haven't asked about or stumbled on? Any big things that folks should know?
I would say just a general outline of the timing that Jeff and I talked about, which was that we would like to have people start applying on October 7th. We're closing the application on Halloween. And
Nice.
Yep. And then we are hoping to inform people of their match by Thanksgiving. And we're hoping that they will have their initial conversations before winter break.
Very nice. Under the light of the harvest moon.
Yes.
Yes, that's a good sign. Again, thank you for joining us this evening. We'll continue to check in on how we can help. I have been following along in the Discord, but usually I'm more plugged in there than Mark, but my schedule has been a little fuller than it has in the years prior. And so I catch up on when I'm watching a series, trying to catch up with Mark on his watching patterns.
I love that you said plugged in, by the way.
Yes, I try to a lot.
That was good. And I don't mean to sound immodest or anything, but if you talk to other people who go to lots of other tech conferences, they talk about us and they say you are a tight group. You work with each other really well. And I feel like we should be expanding that, even more with our membership and giving people more opportunities to work together, get to know each other, and build some of those just incredible bonds, because it's already there. And this is just an excellent way to do that. I just applaud you both for doing this.
Yep. It's going to be great.
Absolutely. It is. It is. It is. Okay, you two, thank you. Any closing thoughts?
Thank you so much for your support. I'm so happy to be part of ACPE. Love ACPE. And just, I have such warm feelings about many of the relationships that I have. And I'm so excited for more relationships to come in the future with this mentoring program.
Yes.
It'd be great.
Yes,
I mean, and you're still positive, and you worked with Alan.
Very, very briefly.
For a brief moment. It was kind of like a high five as one was walking out and one was walking in. Okay, we're going to let you two have an evening. We're always like, it's this like short little time window that we do. And then we start talking and then we start listening. And before we know it, an evening has gone by.
And I have to say that the people here at the conference with me just told me that they brought me some Abby's Pizza. Yeah, I grew up with an Abby's Pizza in Newburgh. And, when you move to Washington, you don't find Abby's Pizza everywhere. It's a rarity. Emilie knows.
This is a treat. So it sounds like we got to wrap this up so you can have some pizza.
Don't. I'm just saying I'm bragging a little bit the fact that I get to eat some Abby's Pizza here in a second. That's what's happening.
Is it the hometown classic?
It's the Abby special. That is my go-to. It's been my go-to since I was like 8.
Okay. That's a good one too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Emilie, good. Jeff, thank you again for spending your time with us and your leadership on the mentoring. We'll be connecting online on this and super excited to check in on progress and matches and how we can support as we move towards the conference.
Absolutely.
Have a wonderful evening. I'm going to kick you backstage again. You're welcome to stay or you're welcome to drop and actually go have the rest of your evening.
Well, this is going to be awesome.
It is.
I love this kind of stuff. I was mentioning that Lori Curtis was like, Mark, you're going to be my mentor. And it's just the kind of thing that I love. It is, if anybody ever wants to get in a long conversation about college football and how it was for me, it didn't have a lot to do with football. It had a lot to do with leadership, and it had a lot to do with being the kind of person that works with other people and being a good teammate. And that just slides right into this kind of stuff. But I love their perspective on, it's not you're the expert and you're guiding this person, but you may be an expert, but you're working together to solve problems. And that perspective is just such a nice take on mentorship, I think, that it's just going to be wildly successful. I don't see how this can't be. And we have access to bring experts, I think, in who may not need to mentor, but can also provide some experience to those pairs, into those groups. I think would be amazing.
I agree. Embarrassment of riches.
We have an awesome group.
We do.
Let's be honest.
We do. I also like the thoughtful way that both Emilie and Jeff are serious about it. They've taken it seriously from the very beginning, but are also aware enough and cognizant of that human element of not over-engineering, but also not leaving people to feel like, okay, so what? I'm super excited to see this unfold.
Absolutely.
Yes. How's that pizza smelling?
Well, it's downstairs, but I'm excited to go have a piece. I've done pretty good with the hiccuping. It's hung in there. The news is getting out. I keep getting text messages from all over the place right now about, I just got one that somebody thinks I'm in the hospital. But, I'm okay. I'm here.
Yes. I think that you are a remarkable human being. You know that already. And your name is in the word remarkable. So I'm figuring it was just like destined that way.
Now you're making me hiccup.
And the vulnerability of sharing the friend you have inside your head right now, our friend Joe, and what's ahead. But with usual Mark spirit, you're like, feeling pretty good. I want the Lego plate as the covering once the resection is done, and know that we will definitely be on the lighter side in terms of things like that, and sending you all of our best and lots of energy and good wishes for these days ahead, especially the waiting game, which is no fun. Not that surgeries and things like that are fun, but the waiting game is the pits.
I am thankful that the doctors are saying this could be way worse. And so we'll see how it goes.
Yep. In the scene from Castaway, the movie with Tom Hanks when he was stranded on the island, and towards the end of the movie, they asked, "How did you do that? How did you make it through that stuff?" I'm paraphrasing. He said, "No matter how bad the day was, no matter how big the thing that happened was, the sun came up the next day." I'm going to have to go find the actual quote because I think about this a lot. I think about it on the days where I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? World, right? Which happen on random Tuesdays and Thursdays in 2025 and all throughout our lives. And the sun comes up tomorrow morning. So you put one foot in front of the other again. And the day that the sun doesn't come up, then we're all in it together. That'll be a different day.
I'm so excited for this. It's going to be great.
Yeah, me too.
I'm trying not to hiccup. Sorry.
Go hiccup. Let's unplug. See you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.